Welcome, welcome to another ASMR session. I'm back with Indie Spotlight number 2. As last time, we will have a look at 5 recently released or soon to be released games developed by indie studios, or anyway smallish studios. I picked them up somewhat randomly from the Steam store, but I made sure that all of them had a playable demo so that I could give you an informed overview of the game. Anyway, without further ado, let's start. Our first game on the list is the Talos Principle 2, developed by Crow Team, a small indie studio based in Zagreb, Croatia. Founded in 1992, Crow Team is best known for their highly acclaimed Serious Sam franchise, a first-person shooter series that has achieved considerable success across various platforms. After releasing multiple installments of the Serious Sam series, Crow Team made a significant shift in both pace and genre with the release of the Talos Principle in 2014, marking a departure from the previous work. The first Talos Principle game garnered widespread recognition and praise from both critics and players, and now they're back with the highly anticipated second installment. It's worth noting that you don't need to have played the first game to understand or enjoy the second, making it accessible to newcomers as well. But what is the Talos Principle 2 all about? In essence, it's a first-person puzzle game, permeated with deep philosophical themes and thought-provoking questions. In the game, you assume the role of Number 1000, a sentient robot. Quickly, you discover that humanity has gone extinct due to a devastating virus. In a last-ditch effort to preserve humanity's collective knowledge and experience, a group of scientists created the first robots, giving them the mission and the technology to reproduce themselves until reaching 1000 units. You are indeed Number 1000, and coincidentally it's been a millennium since the extinction of humans. Now only sentient robots, or new humans as they call themselves, remain in the world's only surviving city, New Jerusalem. The game offers more than just a series of puzzle rooms to solve in sequence. You have full control of your character, allowing you to explore the expansive areas around the puzzle rooms, each containing fragments of Earth's ancient history. As you explore, you'll grapple with profound questions about the cosmos and the purpose of civilization, making it an intellectually engaging experience. The puzzles I have encountered in the demo had a varied complexity and demanded creative thinking to solve. In general, they seem to encourage you to think outside the box to reach a workable solution. That might not be elegant, but who cares, right? If you're ever truly stuck, there's a panic button in each room though. However, it comes at a cost, and you must accumulate points to use it, preventing you from abusing it. While I'm not a die-hard fan of puzzle games, I always have a soft spot for those with intriguing story elements. Portal 1 and 2, for example, won me over despite my initial skepticism. While playing the demo of the Talos Principle 2, I couldn't help but draw comparisons to the Portal series. Not in terms of quirky, offbeat humor, but rather in the depth of the narrative. The game's premise and its deeper exploration of your existence as a robot immediately drew me in, compelling me to tackle one puzzle after the other to uncover more about this fascinating world. Similar to Portal storytelling, the Talos Principle excels in narrating its story gradually through your interactions with the world. And this narrative drive keeps you engaged. You're not just solving puzzles, they serve as a means to convey a complex and thought-provoking story. Don't just take my word for it though. You can try the demo before you buy. And also, by the time you're watching this video, the game should already be available on PC, PlayStation and Xbox. Next up, we have Outpath, a charming indie game developed by David Moralejo Sanchez, a one-man endeavor. By the way, I fear I butchered his name. Apologies. David has got other small games available on Steam for free, like Hymno and Medieval Shopkeeper Simulator, that tend to all share a common element. They provide a relaxing and laid-back gaming experience. Outpath follows this tradition, but introduces a gameplay reminiscent of titles like Forager and Satisfactory. It could even be considered a Minecraft Lite type of game. Outpath has the structure of a survival game, but without all the stress and the anguish of the survival part. You begin your adventure on a randomly generated island, filled with resources, trees, stone, sand, bushes, and more. Like many games in this genre, you start with nothing, no tools, no equipment. You kick things off by gathering simple materials to make a workbench, so that you can craft your first tools like a wooden axe, a pickaxe, and a shovel. Progress in Outpath is marked by following a technology tree, allowing you to craft more sturdy tools and complex contraptions. To unlock these technologies though, you need to invest your experience points in research. As you interact with the environment, whether it's chopping down trees or mining rocks, you earn experience points, which can be spent on research or expanding your land to access more resources. This may all sound fairly standard, so what's the deal with this game, you might wonder? Well, clicking to chop trees, collect rocks, or shovel sand in this game is oddly satisfying. The cute animations and the use of highly stylized 2D sprites in a 3D world contribute to this charm. The ability to leap from one area to another, almost like you're doing parkour, adds a unique dimension to the gathering and building mechanics. The process of gathering, crafting, and constructing items is surprisingly fun, and it's worth noting that there's no damage mechanic, plus resources respawn very quickly. You'll find yourself constantly on the move, clicking and jumping from place to place. A moment you're climbing a high block like you're Spider-Man, and then seconds later you're jumping down from it to land on a small piece of land that should have been too far away to reach. And don't worry, if you fall in the water, you will not drown. A couple of clicks and you'll be up again, gathering more resources. I have to admit, the whole traversal plus clicking mechanic is simple but really fun. It's fast, easy, with no consequences, meaning you don't take damage. It is indeed really addictive. While I was playing, I found myself constantly moving around, gathering resources left and right that I forgot to go back to my workbench to actually make something with the materials I gathered. Outpath also includes a hunger and sleep mechanic, but they're pretty forgiving and it's not forcing you to eat and sleep regularly. This game took me by surprise, and it's both fun and engaging. You can play at your own pace, whether you prefer a leisurely approach or a more frenetic one, as I ended up doing. While I only scratched the surface during the demo, and I can't speak for later stages of the game, it seems Outpath offers ways to automate processes and activities at some point. If you don't like too much clicking, don't worry, there's an auto-click function. Actually, the option to turn it on is presented to you as soon as you start the game. Outpath was released in mid-October 2023 and has received overwhelming positive reviews on Steam, and rightfully so. A final note, The game is currently only available for PC. Moving on to our third game, we have Never Forgotten, developed by Cody Hodge. Once again, a one-man endeavor it seems, and it looks like it's also his first game. Never Forgotten adopts a pixel art style with a distinctive one-bit black and white color palette reminiscent of Game Boy era games. The game is an adventure RPG with turn-based combat, and it's driven by a somber and dark narrative that perfectly complements its unglamorous one-bit graphics. In Never Forgotten, you step into the shoes of a lost soul who awakens in an abandoned world shrouded in flesh. As you venture through this eerie realm, you'll encounter strange creatures and fragments of your past, all tainted by the encroaching darkness that's devouring the land. A word of caution from the developer though. Never Forgotten contains depictions of self-harm, suicide and depression. So if you're sensitive to these topics or have been affected by them, this might not be the right game for you. While playing through the demo, the sense of darkness, personal turmoil, and the heavy burden weighing on the main character's existence becomes palpable. This is evident in the scattered notes and messages you uncover as you explore, as well as in the overall eerie scenery. Even ordinary settings like a house or a park are either ensnared in grotesque tentacles attached to hideous, deformed, alpha-like creatures, or they lie empty and abandoned, reminiscent of scenes from movies where people must abruptly leave everything behind due to a catastrophic event. In such cases, the rooms of a house become the final frames of someone's life, forever frozen in time, a truly unsettling experience. As you explore, you not only gain insight into the unfolding narrative, but also encounter puzzles that need to be solved to progress to the next area. You'll collect objects, combine them, and use them on elements in the environment to trigger events like opening a faraway door or causing a tentacle to retract. Never Forgotten also features a turn-based combat system. At times, you'll face repugnant creatures that must be confronted in battle, although there are opportunities to avoid them altogether. During your turn, you can either use items like drinking a blood vial to regain life, or consume other stomach-churning concoctions to increase your damage or defenses. Or you can attack the enemy. The attack phase is relatively straightforward. Shots are automatically fired at the enemy, and you must press the keyboard or controller button when they overlap with the enemy's image for a successful hit. In the enemy's turn, you'll need to dodge their attacks. They might come from the left or right, requiring you to move up or down, or they could approach from the top or bottom, meaning you move to the left or right to dodge. At times the patterns may be more complex, forcing you to navigate a grid to find a safe spot. Never Forgotten is undeniably an unconventional game with very dark and occult themes, making it not suitable for all audiences. Personally, I find it unsettling, yet the cryptic messages and disturbing scenes motivated me to keep pushing forward, with the hope of reaching a place where the engulfing darkness is forever banished. Given that it's a one-man effort, the game is progressing steadily, but at a slow pace. It's currently slated for release in Q4 2024. Our next game offers a lighter, more whimsical experience and goes by the name of Dungeon Tycoon. It's developed by Lunheim Studios, a small three-person studio hailing from Germany and Switzerland. Lunheim Studios came into existence during the pandemic and made their mark in a well-received game in 2020 called Civilization Tycoon. Building on their success, they're continuing their Tycoon series with Dungeon Tycoon. As the name suggests, Dungeon Tycoon is a management game where you play the role of a dungeon owner. Your goal: attract adventurers and thrive in the competitive and cutthroat business of managing dungeons. The game features captivating low-poly 3D voxel graphics with an isometric perspective like an action RPG. The camera, though, can be freely moved to ensure you don't miss any spots hidden behind dungeon walls. The core game mechanic is straightforward. In Phase 1, you prepare your dungeon, even though in the beginning it's just a single room. You set up spawners for the monsters, which you must summon first, more on that later. Place chests to be filled with loot. Decorate the room, and don't forget to install an entrance door. Perhaps you add some torches for ambience, set up a devious trap by the entrance, or add a health potion vending machine. When everything is in place, you click on Start Next Day and proceed to Phase 2, where you observe the action unfold. Adventurers arrive, pay the entrance fee, engage with your monsters, defeat them, the chest fills with gold, they loot it, and they leave satisfied. Or they are killed by the monster, still the chest fills with loot, and so the next adventurer gets more gold. Sometimes too many adventurers show up simultaneously, so there isn't enough loot for everyone, and they end up leaving disappointed. Finding the right balance is key. You don't want adventurers to die immediately upon entering the first room, nor you want them to face roll through your dungeon without challenge. Also, you want to earn gold yourself in order to improve your adventurer's playground. Maybe buy decorations or add more rooms or more monsters. To add monsters, you must first summon them, which requires a substantial amount of gold. You can also level up your monsters, but this requires souls, the souls of the adventurers who've met their fate within your dungeon. Hence, there's an incentive to keep the dungeon challenging and claim a life or two every now and then. Don't fret though, there's a respawn system for adventurers too. They can then rejoin the action or leave frustrated because their hours has been ended to them. Be cautious not to push your visitors too hard, as your dungeon has a star rating to maintain, and you'll want those stars shining brightly. Dungeon Tycoon has a technology tree as well that unlocks various upgrades such as new decorations or the health potion vending machine I mentioned, which can be a real money spinner, I tell you. To unlock these upgrades, you must meet certain goals, such as reaching a specific number of visitors, for example. In Phase 2, you can't interact with the dungeon, you're merely an observer, but you can use that time to gain insight on the improvements to make when you're back to Phase 1. However, you can speed up the game, allowing Phase 2 to pass quickly. Dungeon Tycoon ticks all the right boxes for me. As a fan of management games, I find its voxel graphics captivating and its mechanics straightforward yet engaging. Balancing the entertainment for adventurers while ensuring they fight hard to earn their loot isn't an easy feat. Moreover, the idea of creating an amusing yet possibly deadly theme park is a really cool concept. It's clear to me that Dungeon Tycoon draws inspiration from Dungeon Keeper, a game released in 1997 by Bullfrog Productions and published by EA. It was a massive hit back then and served as inspiration for many games over the last 25 years. Although the Dungeon Keeper franchise was essentially killed by EA, if it means that we can have these kind of smaller productions that move the basic idea forward, well, it's not all that bad, is it? Dungeon Tycoon is still in development with a planned release date set for sometime in 2024. Our final game is Nine Souls, developed by Red Candle Games, a Taiwanese indie studio based in Taipei. Previously, in 2017, they published Detention, an atmospheric horror game set in the 1960s Taiwan during martial law, receiving acclaim for its gameplay and narrative. Now they're back with Nine Souls, an action platformer drawing substantial inspiration from titles like Hollow Knight and Sekiro, which is not a platformer, but I will explain that in a second, bear with me. First of all, the game boasts hand-drawn, highly stylized 2D graphics, complete with captivating comic book-like cutscenes. Nine Souls immerses players in a lore-rich world, drawing extensively from Far Eastern mythology and Taoism. It's described by the developers as featuring a Tao punk setting, a blend of cyberpunk and Taoism. You assume the role of Yi, a long-forgotten hero awakened by a child and taken to the village of New Kunlun. In this world, the gods, known as the Nine Souls, have given the mortals the means to reach the promised land by performing a specific ritual. Yi, however, knows the truth behind the ritual, and that these gods are an ancient alien race. Now that he has awakened, Yi must complete the mission he failed years ago, to defeat the Nine Souls and uncover the fate of humanity. The game is rather fast-paced, with your character able to dash, jump, run, swing his katana and perform cool kung fu style actions like wall walking. The heart of the combat system lies in the parry mechanic, that then enables you to attach a full charm to your opponents and make them explode. This is the part inspired by Sekiro. You can parry almost any enemy attack, but precise timing is imperative. A quick flash on the enemy's weapon signals when to parry, but mastering it and learning attack patterns is essential. Parrying accumulates chi energy, which you can release by dashing towards the enemy, attaching a full charm and making them explode. This entire sequence can be executed right after a successful parry, resulting in a display of skill, style, and pure badassery. Against weaker foes, it's often lethal, while stronger adversaries will be anyway weakened, so that they will require a simple final sword swing to finish them. Nine Souls adheres to a Souls-like game structure, offering various items and weapons enchantments, but also nasty foes whose attack patterns need to be learned. As you explore each level, forgotten messages and clues gradually unveil the story behind the alien race and the protagonist. The game features a skill tree as well, allowing you to allocate points to defense, parry, or attack. Each branch is self-explanatory, I believe. However, if I have to be nitpicking here, the skill tree felt somewhat underwhelming, primarily offering incremental stat boosts without introducing unique powers or distinct playstyle variations. The demo permits players to experience the first level, and is genuinely enjoyable. The parry plus full charm mechanic is as good as it can get, and you almost forget that you can do it the traditional way, meaning dashing or jumping to dodge an attack, and then swing your deadly katana. But let's be honest, being able to attach a charm to two or more enemies at the same time and vanquish them in one smooth move after an awesome parry is just too cool. Keep in mind though that while dashing to attach the charm, you're not invincible. Enemies can still attack and interrupt your move, causing damage. Thankfully, a soothing pipe smoke can heal your wounds post-battle. Yes, that's how you heal. You smoke your pipe. Nine Demon Souls is really promising. The protagonist's moves, style, and overall moody, badass attitude are undeniably charming. It's essential to underline that this game draws inspiration from Sekiro, and it is a Souls-like experience, meaning it won't be a walk in the park. If you're not a fan of such challenging games, this might not be the game for you. Personally, I'm ambivalent about them. Sometimes I play them, sometimes I steer clear. One last point worth mentioning is that the level I played appeared to be quite linear. However, it's unclear if this linearity was exclusive to the demo. The full game may offer larger open-ended areas with optional side sections, similar to games like Hollow Knight, for example. Anyway, the game is set to be released in Q1 2024 on PC and consoles, so it won't be long until we find out. And this concludes this second indie games spotlight. I hope you enjoyed and that this video was both informative and relaxing at the same time. Stay tuned for more videos like this in the future. Until next time, take care and stay relaxed. Bye bye.